Award. And I'd like to bring up ASCA board member, Coach Mark Hesse, to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Tonight it's my honor to introduce the recipient of the 2012 Ousley Award for Outstanding Service to the ASCA. For over 40 years, this coach, scientist, researcher has contributed to increasing the practical application of scientific research by swimming coaches. From his time as an assistant to the legendary James Doc Councilman at Indiana University in the mid-70s, to his tenure at the University of Hawaii, where he led the Rainbows to a top 20 finishes at the NCAAs and top 10 finishes at the USA Swimming Nationals. This coach has produced. But we're not here to honor him tonight simply for his coaching greatness, but moreover, for his tireless dedication and devotion to the Journal of Swimming Research. He was the very first editor of the journal back in the mid-'80s. One and a half years ago, he volunteered to undertake the daunting task of rejuvenating and modernizing the Journal of Swimming Research, bringing it online where more coaches could take advantage of this great publication. The significance of the Journal of Swimming Research is that it is the only scientific publication that requires a submission of 2 versions of the scientific study. First, the original scientific study, which is vetted by a panel of esteemed scientists, and secondly, the practical application of that study, which is then reviewed by a panel of coaches. If the practical application study does not pass that panel of coaches, it is not published and is sent back. Dr. Prins told me that the reason for this is to make sure that all the scientific mumbo jumbo is removed so that coaches can use it. So it's my great honor tonight to introduce to you Dr. Jan Prins, the 2012 recipient of the Ousley Award.
Oh, you're making me blush. It's wonderful to be here. First, John and the board, thanks for thinking of me. This is a wonderful honor. And as I said, you're making me blush. Thank you. There's 4 other people that it's imperative that I thank. Haile Schulte, who is the ASCA webmaster, who's actually a pleasure to work with. Thank you. And then Guy, who works behind scenes, as we all know. He had the foresight to scan in every single issue from 1981 and have it ready, and you can imagine how much help that was. Saved us an immense amount of time. So Guy, thank you very much. That was a labor of love. Thank you. And the last 2 people are back in Hawaii. The young lady who designed the look of it. If you look at it, it's very, very classy. Her name is Santa Marino, and she's a web designer. And interestingly, she was the #1 fashion designer in Mexico before she decided to move on to other things. So she has a wonderful eye. And my wife, who is the last word in editing, everything passes through her, and so I need to make sure I mention her. One point before I leave, and that is, when he comes in, and I'm going to take off on what Bill Sweetnam said in his talk, and he said we really need to stay ahead of the game, and one way to do this is by reading. And ASCA by providing JSR is showing everybody, nationally and internationally, that we're one of the premier sources for information. But I was thinking about this myself and actually realized that after listening to Bill, I was just as guilty, I think, as any one of us, that there are times when you don't want to read, but you really need to read, because scientific stuff, we'd much rather look at something else. And so for a couple of years, I just decided I'll read it when I feel like it. And I really didn't read as much. And so what I'm hoping that I can encourage people to do is I call essential reading. And I put away at least 15 minutes to half an hour, maybe every other day, to do what I call essential reading, which is just buckling down and reading some scientific stuff. Even though it's mumbo jumbo, you need to have the discipline, I think, because to stay ahead of our game, we need to know what's going on. And there was a very coincidentally, a very interesting quote that came off in Scientific American about 2 weeks ago, the online version of Scientific American, which I thought you'll have fun hearing. It says, worse than ignorance, naive ideas about science lead people to make bad decisions with confidence. In a world where high-stakes issues boil down to science, this could be a problem. So, with that, thank you very much again, and aloha. Thank you.